They think I'm mad. Nah,
I see
I'm
the
awake.
code.
Big bricks. Yeah. Is it you or yourself? Who talking when you melt? Is it truth or the image you felt? Is it you or yourself? Ego crying for help. I don't react, I observe, I step back. Is it you or yourself? Who loud when exposed? Who fall when the light get close? Is it you or yourself? Who loud when exposed? Who fall when the light get close? I see the thought, I don't chase it. I see the rage, I don't face plant. Mind trying to war with the mirror. Observers sitting adjacent. They emotional, trigger, they impatient. I be watching the panic is vacant. Truth don't yell it, just stand it. Ego scream when it can't fake it. Identity shaky, it cracking. Soon as the spotlight active, soon as the lies get questioned, now everybody get frantic. I ain't defensive, I'm present. I ain't offended, I'm conscious. If I can see the reaction, then I ain't trapped in the process. Is it you or yourself? Who talking when you melt? Is it truth or the image you felt? Is it you or yourself? Ego crying for help. I don't react, I observe, I step back.
I see the code.
Is it you or yourself? Who loud when exposed? Who fall when the light get close? Is it you or yourself? Who loud when exposed? Who fall when the light get close? Ancestors whisper in silence. Ego loud but it's fragile. Disconnected from Ori, that's why they acting so savage. They need crowds, they need praise, they need enemy stage. Truth come through, no protection, now it's smear raids, engage. Projection heavy, it's obvious. They bleed in public, it's comical. If the shoe fit, they stomping it. Observer calm, I'm bothered. I don't argue with chaos, I don't wrestle illusions. When awareness walk in the room, all the masks start ludicrous. Who you are when nobody clapping? Who you are when the lies ain't landing? If truth make you feel attacked, that's ego dying, not damaged. Is it you or yourself? Who fold under pressure and tell? Is it soul or the image you sell? Is it you or yourself? Observer breaking the spell. Once I see it, I'm free as hell. I don't crash out, I clock patterns. I don't lose control, I gain vantage. Yeah, awareness over everything.
I see the code.
They try to mock us, turn solidarity into a joke. But pink ain't weak. Pink mean power, justice for all.
We the pink monkey squad, yeah, we gon' paint the city pink. For every tear that drop, we stand tall, we don't shrink. Voice for the silent now, truth louder than you think. Love over hate, yeah, we gon' paint the city pink. Pink, for justice painted pink. For her, but painted pink. For life, cause she should still be here. Painted pink, for justice painted pink. For her, painted pink. For life, cause she should still be here.
They type behind screens, try to twist the narrative. Mocking solidarity, but we stand imperative. A mother gone too soon, that pain hit different. Dropped a baby at school, now the world feel distant. This bigger than drama, bigger than clicks. This by the child who gotta grow up this. We ain't no game, we are moving the truth. When they spread lies, we respond with proof. Call us Pink Mafia, embrace that name. And pick me loyalty, then we claim that flame. We stand for a family, 10 toes deep. Why they chase attention, we don't lose sleep.
Pink Mafia squad, yeah, we gon' paint the city pink. For every tear that drop, we stand tall, we don't shrink. Voice for the silent now, truth louder than you think. Love over hate, yeah, we gon' paint the city pink. Painted pink, for justice painted pink. For her, painted pink. For life, cause she should still be here. Painted pink, for justice painted pink. For her, painted pink. For life, cause she should still be here. Like the morning changed everything in the blink of an eye. She should be here watching the sun grow tall. Instead we fighting lies while they trolling us all. But we don't fold, we don't bow. Cyberbully energy can't break us down. We advocate strong, no violence in speech. Just justice, accountability, truth we preach. We ain't fueled by hate, we fueled by care. By the weight of a loss that ain't fair. Everybody life matter, that's the stance. We paint the city pink in remembrance and prayer. Pink for the love, pink for the pain, pink for the tears falling like rain. Pink for the mothers, pink for the child Pink for the silence that's speaking loud. We the pink mafia squad, yeah, we gon' paint the city pink. For every tear that drop, we stand tall, we don't shrink. Voice for the silent now, truth louder than you think. Love over hate, yeah, we gon' paint the city pink. Painted pink, the shirts is painted pink. For her, painted pink, for life, cause she should still be here. Painted pink, the shirts is painted pink. For her, painted pink, for life, cause she should still be here. Still be here.
Yeah. Rearview mirror small for a reason. What's behind me, lessons. What's ahead, legacy. Anti-season activated. Neo X in motion. I done drove through storms, pushed the rain. Carried over, feel like a middle name. Used to tap brakes for opinions loud. Now I press gas, I'm shifting proud. Family first, that's the code I'm in. Laugh with my nephews, that's a real win. Peace in my chest, sun on my face. Growth got me moving at a different pace. No arguing with ghosts no more. Left the drama at the old front door. If it don't build me, I let it go. If it ain't love, I don't let it grow. Sun shining on my windshield, heart finally starting to heal. No U-turns on this road, I'm in control. I got the pedal to the metal, speeding off on my haters, hands high like better. Ain't got time for no traitors. Pedal to the metal, yeah, I'm gon' see you later. Rearview small for a reason, I'm awakened, conscious creator. Pedal to the metal, pedal to the metal, pedal to the metal. Smiling while I'm shifting gears. Pedal to the metal, pedal to the metal, pedal to the metal. Smiling while I'm shifting gears. World's greatest auntie, that's the title. Nephew's wild, my niece my idol. Cookouts, movie nights, laughed aloud. That's the type of wealth I'm proud. Used to survive, now I elevate. Seeking knowledge, I illuminate. New consciousness in my mind. Old fears falling behind. I'm reading, growing, breaking chains, rewriting cycles, healing pain. They watching how I move and speak. So I'm walking what I teach. I ain't competing, I'm in my lane. Heavy foot, but light on pain. If it ain't growth, it ain't my speed. Love the only thing I need. I don't miss who I used to be. That version was surviving me. Now I'm thriving, federally free. My nephews laughing, my niece believe in me. I'm showing them what strength can be. Knowledge turned to legacy. They watching how I drive this road. So I'm choosing light, I'm choosing growth. Ain't the pedal to the metal, speeding off on my haters. Windows down, heart settle, surrounded by my favors. Pedal to the metal, ain't no going back later. Only love in my circle, everything else get vapor. Pedal to the metal, pedal, pedal to the metal, pedal, pedal to the metal. For my nephews and my men. Pedal to the metal, pedal, pedal to the metal, pedal, pedal to the metal. Building generational things. Yeah. We not going backwards. We elevating. Seeking knowledge. Illuminating. Rearview mirror small for a reason. Pedal to the metal. Neo X. Decode the darkness.
All right, all right, all right, all right. All right, y'all, give me 1 second. I forgot to fit something on my YouTube. I forgot I was supposed to make a change or something. I just realized I didn't do it. Y'all just give me 1 second. Let me go ahead and do this before I forget. And then we're going to go ahead and knock out this video because I don't reschedule this shit. Like, I think I just rescheduled this One Pacific Live. I think I rescheduled this shit like, I think I did y'all like 5 times. Because I was dealing with the bullshit, them, engaging in the bullshit. But I said, I'm finna knock out this live. Because I definitely been wanted to speak about this. But, wait, damn, am I under the right? Damn, that's why it ain't work. I'm under the wrong one. Duh, Neo. All right. Give me 1 second. I was under the wrong, because y'all know I have 2 YouTube pages, and I was on my backup page, so I forgot to make some changes. Make sure y'all hit that like button, and appreciate the people who still coming in to watch me despite the drama. So I appreciate y'all, I really do. Give me 1 second. I just gotta change something. Hey, I forgot to do it. I was thinking about the shit and I forgot to do the shit. Mm-mm. Mm-mm, mm-mm. All right, I think I got it. All right. All right. All right, I'm back. I'm here. I'm here. Make sure y'all hit that like button. All right, y'all. So I definitely wanted to y'all know that we have a good amount of people in the saga not in the saga, in this sector, who's covering the Romika and Holly case. And y'all know I briefly covered it. You know, when I first came out swinging, it's because y'all know how I felt about Nasty Nate coming for this lady's legacy, and just saying horrible things about her, not even knowing her, judging the situation, defending somebody who I truly believe is a murderer. And that I came out because of my compassion and my empathy that I have for the family. Of course, I still love on the family. I just try not to engage in certain things like connecting their name to the drama and stuff like that, because that family don't got nothing to do with the internet drama, the LaTrue saga and stuff like that. So I tried to do my best to try to keep that stuff separate. So I decided to stop, calling Nasty Nate out for what she was doing and her making the phone calls about Romika and stuff. I felt like majority of the Romika supporters knew what happened. People understood. She lost some support. She didn't lose majority of her audience, but she lost a good amount of her audience because the way she handled the story, like bullying and the deceased woman, right? So I decided that when it came down to who content I was going to consume and watch when it came down to this case, I decided that I'm only going to watch people who's like covering the story but with no drama attached. So I watch Upper and I catch Big Keys when I can, but Upper's usually the one that I go to the most to keep up with this story, because I just kind of like want to keep it there. You feel what I'm saying? Because the personal stuff, I was like, I love the ladies over there. I'm not gonna say any YouTube channel name because I don't want nobody thinking I'm like sneak dissing them, because I tend to get accused of that a lot, even though I'm not. But it just like when it's a lot of drama and fighting amongst each other, when it come down to the Romika, advocating for her and being team Romika, I just prefer to go in spaces where they're not dealing with drama, but just giving the facts, because I'm hoping, right? I'm praying, I'm right alongside of the family, sending them energy, asking for favor from the universe that we do get justice for this mother's life. Romika should still be here. Like, that's what it says in my song called The Pete Mafia Squad. She should still be here, right? And how her life was taken, it was senseless. She shouldn't have lost her life the way she did, right? So I just feel like, at the end of the day, time, we have to wait. We know how long these court proceedings go. It can go a couple of years, y'all, far as we know. But I definitely wanted to speak on just something that I came across another YouTuber. I'm not familiar with her content, right? But I came across her. Let me pull up this video real quick. I came across her video. She's been covering the case, and she brought up a good point when she talked about the this CCW insurance that allegedly Holly has, right? Let's see. Dang, I forgot the lady. Did I subscribe to her channel? Okay, there you go. It's this lady. Her name is the name of her channel is Talks with Nikki. And I came across her video, and I'm finna go ahead. I'm finna do a commentary, on it and stuff, because I felt like in the video she made a good points explaining CCW insurance and how when I was sitting up here trying to contemplate what would make a well-rounded lawyer, like known for her intelligence and appears to be a decent person in the community, a pillar of the community, like what would motivate an individual who, when something kind of like is obvious, how she, before all the facts came out, y'all kind of know that Romika supporters, we kind of already knew most likely how a lot of this shit played out before more witnesses came out and more evidence came out, and how Holly and Carlos was moving. That it's like from the surface level, it's kind of obvious, kind of like what went down. Now, when the prosecutors wind up doing their investigation, of course, whatever they discovered that we don't know made them add 5 more charges to this girl case. Like, she got more than first-degree murder. She got other stuff, right, added. So I felt like I kept saying, what would make I mean, and y'all see Ari is like, she be dressed for the gods, right? That girl be coming through that courtroom styling and profiling. And I was just like, what would make a person who seemed like they got they shit? Well, why would you be taking on this case? And I said she get in the bag, right? She damn sure get in the bag. And this YouTuber who video we gonna review, I think she was on point calling it for what it is. Right, and what is we gonna talk about CCL insurance or CCW insurance, depending on what state you live in. We gonna talk about what it is, how it applies, and how Holly is paying for her defense. Right, people was trying to make it seem like the family was coming together, spending money. Carlos got on his video and was crying about he have to give up his savings. The money that he had was for his gym. He now have to, I guess, pay for Holly's lawyer. Like, you remember when he was doing all that crying and acting like he couldn't, he didn't want to give up that money to help defend a innocent girl. If she's truly innocent, why would you be feeling down that you have to give up money? Right? Hey, baby, you about to walk past?
Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
Hey, y'all.
So, hey, don't be doing your black magic when you walk past.
Yeah, all right.
Girl. I told them they just the stuff they make up, baby. Okay, but anywho, shout out to Queen. Yeah, y'all. She just came back from the store. She went to go get us some lunch because I'm off today, and I'm crossing my fingers, y'all, because I was telling y'all I got some shit going on for me. And I'm excited about the shit. That's why I ain't really caring about the negative shit that's been going on and what people saying in the narrative. Like, there's something about to happen. I'm excited about it. I was inspired, like I said, by the internet sister. She told me to take a leap on faith now, so I kind of took a leap on faith. I was scared and anxious, but I took a leap on faith. And I hope that, because I already got half of the shit that I need to get done. I passed everything I needed to pass for is my end. Now it's the stuff on the other end that I hope come together, because if it does, y'all gonna see some new shit, bruh. Y'all gonna see some new shit. It is what it is. But anywho, what I was talking about. Like I said, this YouTuber who video we gonna review, I was just saying that I feel like she did a good job breaking it down. Carlos, they didn't make sense to me. Like, why would you be moping? Like, he literally was sad and moping. Just to refresh y'all memory on how he was acting when this shit first came out. Like, you would think he seemed more sad that he had to pay money towards Holly's defense than actually losing his baby mama, right? His first baby mama that he claimed that he loved. But it's later revealed that these people who do have these gun carry, who have these CCL license or CCW license, they do offer, depending on what type of coalition they in, or they do have some way to protect themselves and purchase insurance. So if they ever have to use their weapon against somebody and they take their life and they cause serious injury to them, bodily injury to them, you know, people gonna need lawyers to defend themselves, especially if the state is challenging if this person used their firearm lawfully, right? So I found out that there is like a community of people who protect themselves, right? And to me, I get it, both sides. Like, I don't think it's a bad thing to have this insurance, but I think that because some people know this insurance exists, they take advantage of that, right? And that's like, for example, me being from Florida, just to refresh our memory, even like the Trayvon Martin situation, how George Zimmerman got away with murder. You're right. We know a lot of it had to do with the race of Trayvon. Trayvon was a black kid. Zimmerman was the color of what's called the protection, the complexion for protection. He was that color, you know. So we know that, you know, sometimes people can literally get away with murder if they have the right strong legal defense team. And you know, the more money you dish in, the more money you get. And I feel like Ari collecting a bag, right? Especially after I saw this video, and I was like, okay, well, now I see why she doing this shit. Like, you know, kind of like ethically, I would have been like, I don't know if I was a big shot lawyer, you know, whatever. I don't know if I would compromise my integrity and be like, girl, you didn't have to use this weapon. But I feel like, you know, I don't know Ari, but I just feel like Ari, you know, Ari getting that bag. She finna get that money. So, but all right, let me pull this up. Give me 1 second. All right, so let's do it. All right. Dang, how? All right, there we go. I was like, why the scene won't come up? I gotta add it like this, add it like that. All right, so here's the video. Babe, where you put my food at? Okay, because I'm this not gonna be a long live. So I actually want to get back to playing. I'm so addicted to this. I've been playing this game Fallout that I bought years ago and never got around to playing it, and now I'm playing it, and I realized that game is so fucking lit. So I'm trying to get back. I really want to get back to playing my damn game, but I definitely wanted to cover this. Here is, and let me see. Oh yeah, and I don't know what happened, y'all. Somebody, one of the moderators, if there's anybody in the comment section, if anybody's saying anything, or if y'all are silently watching me, I don't know. Somebody, one of the moderators, went rogue, and they blocked a lot of people. So if you are commenting and I can't see it, or whatever, let me know. Go through your backup page and let me know you're trying to comment. I'm gonna have to get it when I go to get a chance. I'm gonna have to go through my block list. But somebody went rogue. They pulled the genie. What happened to Genie? Somebody did that over here too. So, but I'm gonna work on the list. But like I said, if y'all just silent watching me, you know, that's cool. But if somebody is blocked, I know I found out a couple of other people got blocked. I kind of understand why one of my moderators was blocking other people. I'm not mad at this individual for blocking, but there's somebody else that went rogue and they wind up blocking a lot of people. So, but I get to it when I can, y'all. So, but all right. So this is the video that I was talking about. Let's get into it and get my commentary, then I'm gonna end this video, y'all. But I just thought this was a good point that the lady Nikki was making. I just thought it was a good point. Hey, what's going on? Why? Dang, it might be something on my end because it won't even let me comment in my own. No, there you go. No, it ain't that. That was the wrong box. But this is the link to the lady's channel. Her name Talks with Nikki.
Told you that you can be charged with. What if I told you that you can be charged with first-degree homicide, be currently incarcerated, denied pretrial release multiple times, and still have your legal defense fully paid for, even with a power attorney? Oh, I'm not talking about by your family, not even by fundraising, but by a company you signed up with before the shooting ever happened. Now, I'm not talking about guilt or innocence. We're going to stick with the pretrial phase for now. Today, we're talking about the real legal mechanics behind CCW insurance, how it works in Illinois, and whether it has anything to do with proving or disproving self-defense. First, let's clear up any confusion. CCW insurance is not required in the state of Illinois. To legally carry a concealed weapon in Illinois, you need a concealed carry license or CCL. And to obtain a CCL, you're required to have firearms training, legal instruction on use of force laws. You have to undergo fingerprinting and background checks, and specific instruction about what to do after a defensive shooting, including calling 911. Court records state that Kadasia Johnson did in fact have a valid CCL when she shot and killed Ramika Blackman during the early morning hour on Monday, September 8th. Police records show that Kadasia Johnson did not call 911 at any point on September 8th. And according to Kadasia's family, she was going to be hiring the best attorney that money could buy. That money was not an issue at all because, and I want to get this quote right, that Holly is good. They also revealed that Kadasia Johnson purchased CCW insurance. Now, mind you, CCW insurance is a separate purchase. It's optional, it's voluntary. And it covers all attorney fees and legal expenses without limits because there's no cap. One of the most talked about companies in this space is CCW Safe. Now, this isn't a sponsored video, so please know that I'm not plugging them or any particular company for that matter. But I want you to know that these companies advertise that if you're involved in a self-defense shooting, they will hire and pay your criminal defense attorney. CCW Safe actually has a network of attorneys that you can choose from. They fund expert witnesses, they cover investigation costs, they pay for pretrial and trial expenses, and they even assist with bail. CCW Safe will pay for bail up to $1 million. That probably won't be necessary in Kadasia Johnson's case, but you have to admit it's one heck of a perk to have, right? And CCW Safe has a defense plan that claims that there is no cap on defense costs. Now that's huge, because a homicide defense case can cost hundreds of thousands of dollars, sometimes over $500,000. But wait, there's more. Even if you're arrested and charged with first-degree murder, CCW Safe said they'll pay all legal costs, whether you're found guilty or not guilty due to self-defense. Now, I'm not gonna lie, Kadasia Johnson did her big one with the CCL insurance. Now, whether she was actually planning or preparing for this event, she crossed her T's and dotted her I's by getting that insurance. It's really self-defense liability insurance, and Kadasia has claimed self-defense in the killing of Ramika Blackman. These kinds of companies like CCW Safe, they aren't traditional insurance like in the auto policy sense. They tend to operate as membership-based legal defense plans, or they have insurance/legal service structures. Some companies will reimburse you later, but other ones, like the plans advertised by CCW Safe, will assign attorneys immediately and they pay directly. And what that means is if a member is arrested and charged, legal representation can start right away, even while the person is incarcerated. And what's key is the contract is not based on the charge itself. It's based on the claim of self-defense. Chess move. Now, let's zoom into Illinois law for a second.
Now, again, a lot of that, this lady, Miss Nikki, she gave a lot of information, stuff that I never even knew that things could do. The insurance, people can do with their insurance. I've heard of people having this insurance, but I guess I didn't know that it was as popular as, I usually thought that people like the military or law enforcement, like I thought that was more like things that companies have to protect their business. It's a lot, just because I guess somebody owning a gun is a liability or whatever. But I didn't even know that this is like stuff was like this was just available for regular civilians, right? And that there are a lot of people who purchase this stuff. Now, me personally, I'm from the beginning, when I first came out and talked about this story, how I felt about it from the beginning. I keep telling everybody, I believe premeditation began way before the incident that happened that day when Romika lost her life. I believe that Holly plotted this shit for months, possibly even years, however long that she known Romika, right? It was just certain things that in her behavior. Y'all know the famous YouTube post where she said sometimes you got to start unaliving people. When she started playing courtroom games, right? Trying to put TPOs on Romika and trying to take shit to court, even though they never met in person. They bickered back and forth on the phone and on social media or whatever. I always just felt like that premeditation started way back then, right? And I truly believe that Holly, this is my gut. I can't say this is factual. This is what my belief. In my mind, when I keep painting like what most likely went down in the mind of a killer, right? I was like, I think that she went and got her gun license, her CCL, that she knew when she was getting it that she was gonna use that weapon on Romika, right? I truly believe when she went to go get her license, when she was going to court, when she purchased this insurance, right, that she knew that this was how I was going to, because I think she was low-key maybe afraid to fight Romika one-on-one. I don't think she was afraid of her life, like this girl gonna take my life. I think she was just simply afraid of an ass whooping or old-fashioned ass whooping, right? And that she kind of one of the ones who probably run their mouth but can't back it up. It seemed like that's the type of energy she was giving. But I think it goes way back then, because I said, and she purchased the CCW insurance or the CCL insurance, depending on what state you live in. I was like, yeah, she made sure that she like really covered herself if she wound up using that gun against Romika. And me wondering why the lawyer, like why this black lawyer, I was like, I'm expecting a greedy white man, somebody who's chasing greed, somebody who don't give a fuck about what's right or wrong, like somebody who's just trying to catch a bag. But then I said, can I get, can I really judge Ari for it? No, because it is a bad to be had, right? Because Holly is not going to beat this case, right? It's especially, and I keep saying this, mark my word, if it's proven in court that she used that weapon on Romika after a fight happened, after they boop, 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 or whatever, and Romika was trying to get away or walk away, or Carlos separated them and was able to, if it's true that that girl used that weapon after the fight, she's out of here, y'all. I keep telling you, if it's true that she went and grabbed the weapon after the fight, or she pulled the gun after they fight, and Romika was already restrained by Carlos, I don't see what jury would give her a pass unless they're a Nasty Nate fan, right? I don't see what jury would not convict her simply on that, especially based off of Illinois law, right? So you have to be in immediate danger, right? If you lost the fight, you lost the fight. But I kept saying, you bought this insurance. Ari is a smart lawyer. Y'all kept saying y'all don't think she is smart because she took the case. I said she's smart because she knows she finna drain the hell out of this CCW insurance. This lady finna get paid. She is chasing the bag, right? And Holly got the bag. She got the CCW insurance. And Carlos, going to get his money back, I guess, while he doing all that crying, talking about he can't get his gym and all the money he saved for personal training. he gonna most likely get it back if Harley insurance paid out, you know. But all right, now I see it what it was. I said, damn, why would Artie take this case? You know, but now I see she finna drain the shit. She finna collect. And then on top of that, y'all, I did some more research and I found out, let's just say if Holly lose and she get convicted, the insurance even pay out if you have to file an appeal. Let's say Holly is found guilty and she, you know, is sentenced to go to prison for whatever time. Even if she files an appeal, the insurance company still would pay for that. Right? So I was like, damn, that is like a lottery ticket. I said, I gotta give it to her. I gotta give it to her. Easy money is easy money because from what I heard that the defense is just not that strong. So I just heard she doesn't have a strong defense right now. So, but all right, let me go ahead and continue. Illinois, okay, she's talking about Illinois law. So let's see what Illinois law say.
And I've actually covered this in one of my earlier videos on this topic. Under Illinois Statute 720 ILCS 5/7-1, a person is justified in using deadly force if, number one, they reasonably believe that force is necessary to prevent imminent death or great bodily harm, or, number two, to prevent the commission of a forcible felony. Reasonable belief means that the threat must be immediate, that the response must be proportional, and that the belief must be objectively reasonable, not just emotionally felt in the moment. If prosecutors believe the force was excessive or not necessary, that's when they charge. And that's exactly what happened in the case of the state of Illinois versus Khadijah Johnson. Once the case makes it to trial, then a jury will decide. CCW insurance doesn't change Illinois self-defense law. It doesn't lower the legal standard, and it certainly doesn't expand your right to shoot. All it does is essentially fund your legal defense. Insurance coverage has zero impact on whether or not a shooting qualifies as lawful self-defense. Hell, the statute doesn't care who pays your lawyer. But from a defendant's point of view?
Yeah, and even when I was just looking at the prices of the plan, and like I said, I went and did a couple of digging to see what it is. I was like, Ari didn't get that money. I was like, God damn, girl, you sniffed that out. I don't even think she truly believed that Holly is innocent. Like, ain't no way. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm like, So did she pull out this gun after the fight? You know what I'm saying? But I think she realized it was I think as soon as she found out that girl had CCL insurance, she was on it. So she went to go get that money because, baby, I mean, that's a lot of, look what all this shit cover up to. It covers up to $1 million bond. This plan over here covers up to $1 million in bond, right? This cover up to $1 million if somebody sues you. All this plan right here, this plan, all criminal and civil defense costs covered up front. Right? I was like, okay, now I see. Cause baby, I used to hear about companies like, like police state police departments and private security, and I heard about them getting plans and stuff like this. Like, I thought it was more of a company thing, but I guess an individual who owns a gun can do this, And then I get to a certain extent, I get why something like this should be available, but unfortunately people are going to abuse it. A good thing, some people could take a good thing and abuse it, because I remember when I heard a story when I was a kid of a man who wound up getting sued by a burglar who broke into his house, and because he shot the man on the way while the man was actually running from his home, because the person shot him, he was able to sue the homeowner because his reason was, I was leaving your property and stuff. And I can't remember if they say he won or not. If I remember the story, they kept saying the criminal won. But I remember that the burglar was able to sue a homeowner because of he got shot while he was actually trying to run up out of his house. So, which is stupid, but it's an American way to sue, I guess. But I get why these plans exist. People sue for the dumbest shit. It's a story right now going viral where Afro Man, y'all know the artist Afro Man, he got sued by a police department for making music about them after they illegally and unlawfully seized his property and illegally searched his house and just did the most and was trying to plant evidence when they was just harassing the dude. He made a song like making fun of them and mocking him, and they tried to turn around and sue him for the song, even though they were the one in the wrong because they was violating his rights. So his civil rights. You all right, babe? Oh, okay. Oh, okay. I was like, what the hell? I know baby girl at school. I was like, what the heck was that? All right, let's continue. Let me finish what I got. 5 more minutes.
Not having to come out of pocket or sell the family home is one heck of a trade-off for a mere $200 a year. Now here's where we get into intense public debate. Some people might ask, if someone had CCW insurance before the shooting, doesn't that show planning? And the answer to that question is legally, no. Millions of firearm owners purchase coverage for their financial protection, and courts don't treat insurance ownership as evidence of an intent to kill. Premeditation requires proof that the intent to kill was formed prior to the act, and there was reflection, even if only for a brief moment. Illinois CCO courses instruct that you call 911 immediately after a defensive shooting. They tell you to request police and medical assistance. They instruct you to provide minimal identifying information. Well, Cordesia did get that part right. And finally, you're instructed to ask for an attorney before giving a detailed statement. So if someone does not call 911 right away, prosecutors may question that decision. But again, questioning behavior is not the same as proving guilt.
That's true.
So what we see right now in this pretrial evidentiary phase, investigators look at an attorney.
Questioning behavior does not automatically presume guilt, but it does make you try to help get a bigger picture when you just try to line up and clock the pattern, clock the T, right? It does say that, but it might not, it's not a factual thing, right? So, because everybody responds differently, and nobody's the same when it comes down to how they respond. But I just felt like, to me, all the things were there, like what she was saying, the comments she was saying. I don't know, just the way she went about it, and then the whole weird thing about her getting pregnant after, and it was just, to me, I just felt like the girl did this shit on purpose. It still felt like premeditated. That she knew that if she was to get arrested for shooting this girl, that she knew she had a way to pay for a lawyer, and knowing that these policies can pay out to $1 million. To me, I was like, damn, this sounds like some Lifetime shit, but that's how I see it.
These present as evidence phone records, surveillance footage, forensic reports, gunshot residue, DNA evidence, and more. And that's exactly what took place at the March 3rd status hearing for Cordesia Johnson. The hearing mainly focused on the progress of discovery and evidence exchanges between the prosecution and the defense. We can expect many more status hearings to take place between now and the trial date if this case actually makes it to trial. It looks like this case is being heard every 30 days in criminal court. The next status hearing is scheduled for April 1st, and that's no joke. April 1st is approximately 30 days after the March status hearing.
All right, so I'm sorry, y'all. I guess there's something going on, because Queen Ye just let me know, because I told her I was checking my list. Y'all do see there's people in the comment who said some things. For some reason, y'all, I can't see y'all over here on EV Mux, but I went to my YouTube channel and I can see a few comments. So if I'm not ignoring anybody, in the comment section. I think Terry was in here, Chaco was in here. But I'm not ignoring anybody, but I can't see no comments, y'all. I don't know what's up with that. I have no idea what's going on with that. But it must be something on the, I don't know if it's a YouTube thing or EV Mutts thing. Just make sure y'all just please hit the like button though. For whoever you are, if anybody's in the comment section, because like I said, I know a lot of people are gonna have to silently support me because of the drama that went down. But that's cool. Like I told y'all, I'm going to edited videos. If things work out the way I think it's gonna work out, pretty soon I'm gonna have no choice but to do edited videos. Still bring y'all content, but it's gonna be pre-recorded and edited. Right? I won't be able to do lives, but and if I do go live, it'll be, every now and again. So I don't know what's going on with that, y'all, but just please, the best way you can support me, just hit that like button. I appreciate you. So, all right. So let me finish this. Where we at? Okay. It's almost done.
Prosecutors have successfully opposed pretrial release multiple times, and the judge has sided with the prosecution each time, stating that he believes that Quadasia Johnson is a threat to public safety and that placing her on electronic monitoring won't mitigate that at all. So what's the big takeaway here?
And I think some people definitely overlooked that when this was happening, because there's been cases where people have been charged with unaliving somebody and they do get a bond. Now the bond be something crazy like $1 million, $2.4 million. I've seen a video of a lady who wound up unaliving her kids, and I think they gave her a $2 million bond. Right? There's people who can get a bond, and being that policy that when I was showing y'all the different plans, that one of the things they pay out if you have a bond up to $1 million. Right? So I think people kind of overlook that. Like, what information did the judge see where he was convinced that even though Holly does not have a criminal record, and whatever, and she had her CDLs or whatever, what evidence did this judge actually see to the point that he won't even give her a bond? And then on top of that, for him to make sure he put on record, right, that he feels like she's dangerous, which I understand his mindset, because she did this, first of all, in the proximity of a school, right? So, and then she put a loaded gun in the car where her baby was, allegedly, right? So I felt like the judge seen way more than what we saw. The prosecutors, of course, know way more than we know because they added additional charges. And being that the lawyer, I think Ari, I hope I'm saying her name right. Ari, the lawyer, even when she did try to get Holly out on a technicality, or at least able to give her bond and stuff, trying to discredit witnesses based off of headphones and stuff like that. Even when I seen how weak that was, I was like, okay, Holly, I think Ari knows that she cannot win this case, but she gotta put up a good fight, if that makes sense, to collect the money. So it just won't make it seem like she's doing it for the money. But that's using my discernment and my vibe and finding out that this is how Holly is paying for her defense. I was like, man, Ari getting that damn bag, bro. She chasing the bag, making money off of a woman's tragedy death, who now became what I like to call a pretty girl icon. You know what I'm saying? Romika brought a lot of people together, caused a lot of drama, but brought a lot of people together in solidarity for what's right, for it's like standing on your integrity, principle, value in life, right? If you're a Christian, if you believe thou shalt not kill, it should apply, right? Not because the law says you're allowed to, right? That's just personally how I feel. But I just feel like, I just don't like malicious and conniving, and I just feel like Holly was just on some demon time with this shit. That's truly just how I feel.
CCL insurance is a financial shield. It's not a legal shield, and you can expect attorney Ari Williams to be pulling out all.
Again, for anybody who's coming in, because Queen Gabe let me know people are commenting. For some reason, EV Mutts is not letting me see y'all comments.
Yeah,
So,
your main channel is comments or whatever.
yeah. Well, nobody really goes to the backup. Let me see.
Oh, okay. So maybe I was
Look,
wrong.
okay. Let me see. I had to read. It's something glitching, because it just soon as you walked in, it glitched. Now everything popping up.
Wait, what?
Yeah. Look, it's a glitch. You got magic. You better stop. They already spreading the rumors about you.
They saying that about my job. Girl, you
They think you be girl. They say we do black magic, child.
please.
I don't know what that means.
Right.
Or is it because we are black people and you think we have magical powers?
Well, you know what
Because they don't even. If I did have,
I got 3 minutes.
yeah, go and get ready for work, baby. Let me finish the show.
Can you see the comments?
Yeah, it just look, it just popped up. Remember when it wasn't popping up? There it go, right there. It literally just glitched up. So it's a glitch. It was something going on with, I guess, EV Mux.
Well, then now, if while the phone lines is probably or the queue is down, I'll at least be able to try to moderate.
Well, babe, this not gonna be a long live. I got 2 shows today. Okay, thank you. But how you doing, White Dove? I don't know what was going on. I know a few people spoke. I wasn't ignoring nobody. It's something was going on with EV Mux because somebody was telling me that they were blocked, and I went to my block section, and then I was looking like, okay, they're not blocked, so why I can't see them? But now I see is it was EV Mux. But I realized that I did leave a wrench to somebody who I should have been took it away. So. All right. But yeah, so that's how I truly feel about why Holly did this. I mean why Ari took this case and that Holly this was premeditated. This is what I just see all day, just using my discernment. That she knew what she was doing. This was a plot.
All the stops along the way.
And Ari finna get paid because that policy pays out a lot and then the money is paid up front.
She's going to keep making objections, filing motions, filing appeals, and anything else she believes will help her client get the best legal defense that money can buy. It's almost as if she received a blank check to defend this case. And listen, sis is in her bag. Concealed carry weapon or self-defense liability insurance can pay for the most elite attorneys, forensic experts, and trial preparation no matter how long it takes. But it cannot rewrite Illinois law, convince a jury, override evidence, or redefine what reasonable belief means.
Whoever this, I subscribed. Wait, no, I didn't subscribe. Let me make sure I do subscribe so I can keep up with this lady. I just did. I thought I did, but I didn't. So I just subscribed to her channel, and I'm actually gonna turn on the bell too so I can watch more of her videos. She did this video like 2 weeks ago, right? And I think that she did a good job breaking that down and bringing this because I didn't hear anybody else bring this up. But then again, I haven't been watching a lot of people if you know the case was attached to drama or some shit like that. But I just thought this was a good point that she was making, and I'm sorry, I'm just looking in the comment section. In her description. I think she just did a good job just clocking that T. Because I kept saying, they said Ari got a reputation of being like, why the hell would she take this case when it's obvious that this girl is going to lose? You know what I'm saying? Especially if she, according to Illinois law, if she shot Romika after a fight, that girl, they locking her up and throwing away that key, man. Because even the judge wasn't even playing with her. You know, the judge who just do the bonds, you know? Whoa, look, somebody, I'm in the comment section. Y'all, I'm just being nosy. I'm in the comment section real quick before I finish the video. Somebody on her chat, in her comment section named Little Virgo, she said that was all a plan. And if a jury/judge don't see that, they need something else to do. That's why I say it's kind of like obvious. If it walk like a duck, talk like a duck, you feel me? Like, I was like, how y'all don't know? I was like, because when I found out, I said, wait, she got CCW insurance, bro? You know, I said, Somebody said good info because that CCL is not above the law. So a lot of people in here, look, somebody on here saying premeditated. Hope Ari isn't willing to participate before the act. So they have the phone records. Child. Oh, willing participant. That's what I say. I hope Ari isn't a willing participant. I don't think she's a willing participant. I think she just no, I think she just know easy money when she see easy money. I just think she really is a smart lawyer. People was trying to say she might not be. And now that I know what I know now, this is definitely this is a chess move right here. This is a bad chaser move. So now me personally, because what I stand on, I couldn't do things for money. I don't never let money motivate me. So like if I felt something is ethically wrong, I couldn't do it. But I just think Ari knows this is just easy money. And this talk on Nikki on content creator clocked it too. And I'm looking through her comment section, a lot of people agreeing, And a lot of people in the comment section saying what I'm saying, premeditated, premeditated. I said that from the beginning, especially when I seen that Facebook post. I said, oh she knew she was gonna do that. So, all right, let me get up out of somebody put a Bible verse, Proverbs 16:33. We may throw the dice, but the Lord determine how they fall. Okay. I don't know if that's how the Bible say that, but she was just, I guess, paraphrasing that. You do got, there was a Holly supporter came in here. Somebody said, somebody named Terry said, where is the Holly documents of her attorney and how Romika was threatening and bullying her? Where is it for the court? She can't provide any because she doesn't have any of her. Carlos playing this and oh no, okay, I read that wrong. I thought they was defending Holly. No, they questioning if Romika did all this bullying and shit. Where's the evidence? Why the lawyer hasn't pulled any of that shit up yet? I think that'll probably come out in trial if it is some truth to what Holly claimed. But even if it is some truth, that's not what the Illinois law say. You just can't kill somebody because you're afraid of them. You have to be in immediate danger. So in Illinois. I just think it's crazy though. A lot of people who are Holly supporters are the ones that be like some of the biggest bullies on the internet. And even when people was like, saying little slick shit to me, I was like, well, if I wind up pulling a Holly on somebody, are they going to rock with Neo too? Because I have proof that I was being bullied, right? So and even when I wasn't even responding to people, right? I got proof of that, but I'm just not for that. You get what I'm saying? Like I don't think that shit right. So far as people trying to justify when is it okay and to take someone's life, right? In that situation, I just think Holly was doing too much. Hi Neil, these content creators beefs are too intense, so I learned to stay out and support content I relate to. I'm here listening and above support justice for Romika and your religious content. Real one, first of all, you are a real one. Let's go ahead and establish that. Put that on the docket. You definitely a real one, sis. I appreciate you still coming in here showing me some love because I know you are supportive of multiple content creators. But please make sure you tune in. I have another live at 3:30. I'm gonna eat my lunch first, and then I have another live at 3:30 because I am gonna talk. My next live is gonna be about some religious stuff because allegedly people say that I'm bonkers because they're trying to push a narrative that I'm some type of witch or I do black magic or whatever it is. I've been very transparent with people like that. I don't do none of that stuff. I don't know why people keep pushing that on me because I lack the belief in God. I'm very spiritual, right? I believe in ancestor worshiping or acknowledgement or, stuff like that. I'm very more into the element of doing things naturally, like instead of taking high blood pressure medication, I believe you take natural remedies like drinking hibiscus tea. So if that makes me a witch, then it is what it is. But I'm not into that. I have too much anxiety to deal with stuff like that. So I appreciate you still coming in here because they're trying to push the narrative because they just don't want people to support me, even if they do like me. But I am my next video, I'm going to talk about religion because somebody said the reason why I'm bonkers, right? They said I'm crazy and I'm bonkers is because I mock God or my lack in faith or whatever. Well, we're going to break down scientifically, am I bonkers and does God allow children to be bonkers, right? Whatever that means. I'm just going to show y'all that when people are indoctrinated and they don't have the ability to think outside the box or critically think, and they're in this small cast-up of of how they view the world, they can't see anything outside of it. And I'm just gonna let them know how logically what they said was very, like, to me, I don't want to use the word stupid, but it was dumb because it doesn't apply to what mental health actually is. Right. So make sure you stay tuned. But I appreciate you hitting the link from the last time I did live and still coming in here and support your girl. So I love you for that. Just know, like I said, I'm going to make y'all proud. I'm not going to be doing what I told y'all. I'm not doing that back and forth and stuff. I'm not going to watch her videos. I'm not doing that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Now, will I play around in the community post and, you know, whatever, the shorts, and make my music? I told y'all the way I'm going to respond is through my art, through expression. I'm a very creative person. That's how I like to express myself creatively. So it would be like that. Before it's getting on the internet, tearing people down and trying to come for their insecurities and you know, or even like letting somebody try to do that to me. Their words have no power if I can't hear it. Their words really don't have no power when it ain't even true. Right? But it's no point. You get what I'm saying? Me tearing her down, even though I know I could do a code breaker on her and have y'all look at her in a different perspective, because I have plenty of receipts. I decided there's no reason to do that. You get what I'm saying? What's the point of me attacking and hurting somebody who's already hurting, right? Somebody who's clearly obvious that they're self-medicating because they're hurting inside. I'm not going to participate in nobody else hurt, even though they hurt me first. Right. I just decided I'm going to change and respond differently, if that makes sense, sis. I'm not going to attack a hurting person, even though I know the reason why they're attacking me is because they're hurt. Right. And they got to deal with their own dark demons and energy and stuff like that. You know, self-medication definitely gives it away of what's going on. So, but I appreciate that, sis. But please come back, because I got to I just want to address the part with the I'm bonkers because of how I view God. Well, we're going to break it down. And we're going to see logically, did that even make sense? Right? So make sure you come back for that video. It's going to be a deep video. Appreciate it. So I wonder who Holly called after the Pew Pew wrote. I don't know. That's a good question. We know she ain't call the police. You know, you feel me? We know she ain't do that. She ain't call the police. That's why she ain't in trouble now. You feel what I'm saying? Because the law says she was supposed to call the police. Right? So we know she didn't call the folks. So with the policy, Neil, isn't it only good for self-defense? If she is found guilty, Holly will have to pay. She could end up with court. No. That's not what that's a good question, White Dove, but that's not how the Nikki lady explained it. The insurance is paying out because she's claiming self-defense, right? It's not that they're not going to pay if they don't think it was self-defense, but her defense is self-defense, right? The law has to determine, right? But even if she's found guilty, right, that insurance policy still pays out the appeal, right? So they might determine that it was self-defense. Holly's cashing in and saying that it's self-defense. They're not gonna pay a dime if they viewed it and they don't think it's self-defense. If that makes sense. So, but that's what I said. Like from what my understanding is, they paying out. You know what I'm saying? So, because she filing, because Ari is feeling, and that's why every other 2 months we in court, you know, talking about this and talking about that and doing appeals. I truly believe that Ari be doing all those appeals and submitting all them requests and stuff. It's obvious to me that she got plenty of money to work with and play with. So she cashing in. So, but yeah, so again, real one, make sure you come back for my next video. So, because we're going to talk about that. So, but yeah, I'm not doing that, y'all. I think black women already hurt each other enough, if that makes sense. I'm just not doing that. So, I'm just going to be a better person. So, because I can do that too. I can do it too. I can actually do it better. Because I respond with the truth. I don't have to lie. You know, I don't, you know, like right now, for example, I do witchcraft. Did you know I did witchcraft before or after I refused to answer the phone for you when I was asking for space? Even though I was asking for boundaries and space because I'm stressed out because of life, right? Things I have going on in my home personally, right? Like finances and shit like that. But when was I a witch? Before I didn't answer the call for you, or after I told the internet that you and your group hurt me by prioritizing your feelings over mine, even though I'm the one who obviously needed attention and was in distress. And the only thing I did wrong was tell the internet, y'all hurt me. And people responded back to, it was your fault because Neil, you're crazy. So we'll let them run with that narrative. We're gonna see who's the really crazy one at the end. So the universe always seemed to side with me when stuff like this happens. So I don't even pay it no mind. But anyway, but let me stop because I don't want to make this, because this video was not, I ain't even want to mention any of that stuff on this Romika video. But please, sis, come back 3:30. We're gonna talk about the religious stuff. All right, so yeah, so the CCLW thing, I think that they are paying out because Ari is filing those appeals, and like I said, the insurance is for people who claim that it's self-defense. That's what it's there for. So, and if she does lose, because it's been cases, because I looked it up, White Dove, where people have used a CCW insurance and they did lose, and then they filed the appeal, and the CCW insurance covered the appeal too on top of that. So maybe they just weigh it, or I don't know, maybe they have insurance. I don't know. People who look at the case within the insurance company, maybe they still determine that the person shouldn't be locked up.
Success of a self-defense claim in Illinois will ultimately hinge on whether deadly force was truly necessary, whether the threat was imminent, or whether the response was proportional, and whether the jury believes that narrative. So y'all can prepare to get sick of seeing attorney Ari Williams and her courtroom theatrics. She's being paid top dollar to show up and show out.
Ari come through that court dressed for the gods, because she knows she finna get all that money back. Ari finna clap. And I said, damn, Ari did that, bro. When I found this, I said, oh, that's what's going on. There's a bad to be had. That's why she in here, dressing, styling, and profiling, and, showing off. Because she knows she finna get paid. She finna get some real, she might buy a home out of this. I don't know if she's a home owner. I don't know this lady finance like that, but she might be able to get a nice home or some shit, because she finna collect some money on this case.
And to that I say, run it up, sis. Whether or not Khadijah's use of deadly force was justified is where this case will ultimately rise or fall. One thing for certain, we're in for a long ride. If you enjoyed this video, please give it.
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, I like the video. Subscribe. Make sure I like the video. Subscribe to her or whatever. Let me see did she got any other stuff? I'm just being nosy now. So, okay, yeah, she covers a lot of stuff. She definitely should be getting more views, because this is a good live she broke down with the CCW. So she definitely should be getting more views. I definitely wish this YouTuber the best, because she did that. Oh, she covered the tenderism. All right, so yeah, so she does more than just Romika and Holly. All right, that's what's up. But this lady definitely deserves more views than that she's been getting in her last few videos. But she did a good job breaking down that CCW insurance stuff. So that tenderism, Mr. Tenderism, that story was crazy in itself too. All right, so let me see something real quick. It was something I thought I might have pulled a video of somebody explaining what CCW insurance is. Let me see. Give me 1 second, y'all. I thought I played what that was. I don't reschedule this video so many damn times. I don't even know what play. Okay, I did. Which video I wanted to play though? I was trying to find a short video of somebody explaining CCW insurance. This guy seemed it. No, No, that's not who I want to play. Give me 1 second, y'all. I just wanted to see if I wanted to. Even though the Nikki lady did a good job explaining it, I was just trying to see. I was trying to find. It was a black guy. I'm trying to think. He was explaining it. He was a gun instructor. Um, his name was Instructor Mike, but I can't remember. Let me see. I was trying to play y'all his video. It's a guy. It's a black dude. He's playing somebody else talking about CCW insurance, but for the life of me, I don't even remember the timestamp. I should have wrote it down when they was making certain points. So I'm just finna skim through this real quick to see if I can find what I'm looking for, and if not, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this video up in this live, and then like I said, to eat lunch, and I'll be back at 3:30 for my second live for today.
If we can get the likes up, if we can get the you are a licensee in the state of Illinois, we are all going through it. So I'm going to err on the side of wisdom, and I'm going to state that this egregious constitutional violation of the Second Amendment, hopefully it should work itself out. And when I am done with this, and hopefully everything is back to where it should be, I will hopefully be at more liberty to discuss what has taken place. Okay. It's extremely sad. But I will tell you this: the anti-Mike Brown folks, the anti-instructor Mike folks are loving it. Thing I have ever taught you. A smart person learns from their mistakes. A wise person learns from the mistakes of others. And when I sit here and tell you that you need to avoid conflict, you need to avoid conflict. When I sit here and I tell you that it is very easy for people who don't like you, and including your loved ones, and I use those in air quotations, right, to attack the very thing that causes you to protect yourself and or feed yourself and or your families. That is what people will do. So when I tell you, if you are a resident of the state of Illinois, make no mistake that this is an anti-gun state.
Okay, let me see. I'm just trying to get to the part where he talked about the insurance.
Overturned, which is reversed and remanded back up.
I've never had an issue with pushing everything I have out.
Coming through fine, or is it kind of choppy?
I'm just going.
Well, you know exactly how thorough and big those investigations will be.
I'm just trying to find the part where they talk about the insurance, but I can't remember where I heard it.
But that was kind of an all hands on deck enterprise, and you came on board, and then I had the amazing opportunity to see the.
Maybe it was at the beginning.
Don't get me wrong. If you want to choose USCCA, you're more than welcome to. They're great people over at the USCCA. I did not pay for that. I don't have USCCA. I stake my life, this body right here, I stake it on CCW Safe. How many of y'all knew that already? How many of y'all knew? If y'all knew that, sound off in the comments.
All right, I think I'm getting close to where I wanted to hear him talk about it.
I don't think that would even be, I would have to see about that. You said, yes, use jazz hands and walk away. Keep them scratching their head on WTF, what the F just happened. When you catch your partner cheating, walk away, right? You're not wrong either. I'm just saying, right? All right, here we go. Let's go ahead and get right to it, because that's why you came. We're going to talk about CCW Safe. Now, I know people have asked me about the right kind of insurance or legal services product that you should get. I'm just going to let you know, you have heard me talk about USCCA here. I don't have USCCA. I got it as a complimentary membership. I did not pay for that. I don't have USCCA. I stake my life, this body right here, I stake it on CCW Safe. How many of y'all knew that already? How many of y'all knew? If y'all knew that, sound off in the comments. I knew it. How many of y'all knew that already? And I'm going to show you why. Out of their own mouths. Out of their own mouths. Because I think this is important.
Hey, you White Dove, you might be correct, because I think I was basing it off of what I heard commentaries say, but I didn't do extensive search like through YouTube. I mean through Google. I think I went to go see what the plans covered. Right. So you could be correct. I could be incorrect, since I ain't gonna lie and act like I did a whole, the research on the policies and stuff. It's just from my understanding, from the way I heard people explain it and what I heard Nikki just say, I thought they were saying that they do pay out if a person is saying self-defense, and that's their defense. So because I heard them say that they will pay out in appeals.
And this is a react video that I'm going to react to this wonderful criminal trial process. You said, I remember from your class. Tino said, I knew that. I've been following you for quite some time now. Now, don't get me wrong. If you want to choose USCCA, you're more than welcome to. They're great people over at the USCCA, but I like CCW Safe, and I'm going to tell you why. As a former police officer, right, I know the kind of protection that police unions, for the most part, provide their members.
See, again, so this not even a part of the video that I saw that I'm waiting for him to get to. But I knew it when I kept thinking about it. I thought only police officers and stuff be having stuff like that because they have a license to use a firearm to kill, right? And we see them get off a lot of times, even when they are the one in the wrong, that we see them get off, even if the cop felt like his life was in danger, if it wasn't, right? But I thought, that's what I said, usually when I heard about it, I thought it would only apply to like law enforcement officers or private security or people who have license to kill.
Protection they provide their members, right? CCW Safe is built on that model. But I'd rather you hear it straight from them in this wonderful episode of the CCW Safe podcast, episode 101, the criminal trial process. You see that guy over there in the black suit and red tie? That is National Trial Counsel Don West. I have personally or professionally talked to him directly. A great and knowledgeable man and an attorney, right? He's just great. And I'm talking about professional, right? Remember when I told you all, well, if the link is in the description. If you're watching on YouTube, right, I'll put the link right here. I know Gail has done that. I'm going to put it in there, and it does have my referral code. Yes, please. Thank you. Yes. And yeah, please, maybe. No? Just a little bit? Okay. CCWSafe.com /Sextricon. So I'm going to put that there. There we go. And you said share how much. Let me tell you how much I pay for the whole year. For the whole year, I think I only pay like what?
This up a little bit, y'all.
200?
I don't want to spend too much on this.
Something, maybe not even 200 for the whole year. Yeah. And their coverage works. Can I say I hate to? That's not the referral code. If you click on the link, the whole thing will come up.
Let me know if this too fast.
But here's this. Remember when I told you, or when I asked you, if in this climate, you said for some reason it's not linking. Is McDermott still covered under CCW Safe? Yes, he is. Yes. Oh, yes. Dave McDermott is still. I personally know this. Dave McDermott is covered because Dave is not specific to USCCA or to CCW SAFE. Dave McDermott is a wonderful criminal defense attorney who is great at his job in vociferously, viciously, professionally defending his clients. And Don West is great. Thank you, Gail. Don is great at vetting counsel to make sure they are great at their job. Don has texted me directly. Don does not play. Don is very good. And I'm going to tell you how good he is. It's going to piss some of y'all off. You ready for me to piss you off? He was George Zimmerman's attorney. Oh, God, no. Lord, look at some.
Shit. Well, woo. Well, okay. That's part why he maybe Ari finna try to chase a little fame too. On top of that, because if she gets Holly off, even though if she get her off, still guilty in my book, still guilty in God's book. But y'all, people cherry pick when they come down to what they want to call out when they come down to sin, right? But yeah, well, let me start saying God, because I be confusing people when they act like they can. The God y'all believe in, not the God I believe in. The God of the Bible, according to what y'all believe in. Yeah, it's guilty, right? But this man defended Zimmerman. That's why he's so popular, because he got Zimmerman on, because I thought Zimmerman was going to jail. I ain't gonna lie. But again, being from Florida, racist as hell, I wasn't even surprised, but I really thought that Florida was going to get that shit right when it came down, especially when we found out that Trayvon didn't have a weapon and he was just walking through a neighborhood, man. But he got Zimmerman off. So maybe Ari might be chasing a little fame on top of cashing in the bag. I thought she was just chasing the bag. But if she could get Holly off, he might hire Ari to come and join their group. If she could become partners with those people, that even though I think she got her own private, right? Arya known for having her own private firm, right? But if she latch on to some big names like that, Arya is set for life. So maybe she's seen an opportunity too, that if she could defend this case and win, a lot of people be coming for, trying to hire her. That's wow. I did not know that. This who this man was.
Look at some of y'all. I knew it. Look, you don't have to like the outcome. I knew George Zimmerman was going to get acquitted. I knew he was going to get acquitted. The facts and circumstances, when you take your emotions out and you look at the law, I knew he was going to get acquitted. Those of you who have been following me for a long time, you knew I said it. He did his job, like it or not. Don West is a great, look at you, Art. I knew, look at y'all, I'm about to cuss. Okay, so this isn't about Trayvon Martin. This is about getting you the best service you can get for when you are in a situation that you attempt to avoid, remember what I said earlier, and I'll give you one even better. In this climate, if you are found guilty, because in Illinois, it's possible. If you are found guilty, will CCW SAFE cover you during the appeal? We're about to watch this, and I'm not going to answer that question, boy. Look, I'm going to stay in my lane, and I'm going to let this play. All right? Look at y'all. Let's get right to it.
I'd like to welcome everybody to the CCW SAFE podcast. I'm your host, Raul High, here in Oklahoma City. Today,
let me slow it down. So Mike was talking kind of slow. Now I'm finna slow it down so we can hear what they saying.
Some members of our team that we want to introduce to you. Sean Vincent here.
That's
on my
crazy.
right, your left, and our chief trial counsel, our national trial counsel, Don West, on my left.
Hey, Rob, good to be here.
Good to have you guys. Part of our service is our critical response team. You guys have heard an awful lot about what Gary does and I do. But as we proceed on, a lot of the things that you have questions about pertain to the next course of action, the next steps, where we're going in the legal process. And we've got the best two guys in the company to talk about that today. So, Sean, if you give us just a minute or two and kind of let our folks know what it is that you do for us.
Sure. Well, yeah, I'm a litigation consultant, which means I stopped going to school after I got my English degree. And I never imagined that I'd be involved in anything involving the legal industry until I crossed paths with Don.
So you have both an English degree and a job?
And a job, yeah. I've defied all expectations. I'm a unicorn in that regard. Yeah. But when I crossed paths with you on the Zimmerman case, that was, ironically, I was there in the capacity of helping handle the public perception of the criminal defense. manage the media, the social media aspects of it, but that was kind of an all hands on deck enterprise.
Yeah.
And you came on board, and then I had the amazing opportunity to see the insides of a criminal defense, especially for a self-defense, which is unusual compared to almost all other criminal defense type cases. And then we had a trial. I got to be involved in helping qualify the jury and just being the eyes and ears outside the courtroom while the drama was unfolding inside. And after that, I got a chance to be involved in dozens of cases, a lot of self-defense cases, and writing.
I'm just gonna speed it up a little bit.
For
So they,
Quite a long time, actually. You know, Gary and I, if we respond to your incident, part of that is kind of walking you through the steps. As far as, you know, we're going to get you set up for a formal interview. We'll do these things and make sure any kind of peer support needs are met for you. If it's at your home or something like that, we need a crime scene cleanup, we'll facilitate those kind of things. But beyond that, it really moves into Sean and Dawn's realm. So Dawn, once this is established, and whether it's a charge that is being presented by the investigations team to a district attorney, or if it's something that's going to go in front of a grand jury, depending on where you live and how they basically file cases, what are the steps now that are coming out for them?
Sure, and you know, each jurisdiction will have differences, but it's pretty predictable what's going to happen. Right. You get to a point, and then either this is going to happen or that's going to happen. And depending on which it was, you'll go this way or that way. So I think it would be great today to talk about what is that process, the stages of a criminal prosecution, and where do you get from arrest until there's a verdict or beyond. So I think that'd be great. I'd love to talk about that.
Yeah, well, you know, as an investigator, if I am the case agent, I'm assigned to this, I would conduct all my investigation and utilizing whatever other resources, whether it's crime scene investigators and the work that they do, or the DNA lab, or whatever other things that come into play for me. And I put everything together, and then I go sit and discuss with prosecutors in the district attorney's office. And a lot of people don't understand. They just think, well, the cops did this and the cops did that. I put all the case facts together, and I present those to the prosecution, and they're the ones that determine what charges or if charges are going to be filed. So they may direct me to go ahead and prepare a probable cause affidavit with facts of the case, and we move forward and get an arrest warrant. Sometimes we can arrange that with an attorney to have them come in and walk you in and surrender and do things like that. But beyond that, once an arrest has been made, even if it's just a deal where I have to do a walkthrough and they take my fingerprints and photographs and get all my things done like that, now we're moving into the legal system.
So the listeners have a good idea what you're talking about. You talk about all that work that's gone into it before an arrest is made or charges are brought. That could be days, that could be weeks, where from between when the incident happens and the defender is waiting to find out what are the police going to decide, what's the prosecutor going to decide, am I going to face charges, and when I do, when are they going to come, what are they going to be? So,
yeah, exactly right. So let's start at the point of the incident. There's going to be a law enforcement response. Now we're talking about a serious self-defense scenario, lethal self-defense, shots fired, somebody's hurt. So it's the real thing. Right. We need boots on the ground right away. We need legal advice to the member right away. But that may not actually occur until, and isn't likely to occur before there's an initial police response. And at that time, there's going to be some questioning by the police, an attempt to begin the investigation, collecting evidence. There may be an arrest, and there may not be. Whatever time that takes between the incident and the arrest, whether it's a few hours, a few days, weeks, or months, and then the charging decision, from my perspective as a criminal defense lawyer, I call that the pre-charge phase. Correct. Right? During that time, we can have lots of input with law enforcement or the prosecutor through counsel doing some investigation. In some jurisdictions, there's some limited ability to present evidence to the grand jury through the prosecutor, for example. So this pre-charge phase is really important, but there's no way to predict how long it might be. Right. Sometimes an individual that could be arrested, that the police feel they had probable cause, choose not to arrest because they're not afraid that he's going to run off, right? And they don't want to start the clock on the process. So they delay, they do, lab work, forensic evidence examination, there could be blood stuff, ballistic stuff, lots of witnesses to interview, videotape together. Well, you know exactly how thorough and big those investigations will be. But at some point in time, that package that you referred to will be referred to the prosecuting authority. Yes. They'll look at it, they may task more stuff, or they may decide, well, we can make our decision now. Well, the decision could be in some places, I'll sign off on the information, an arrest warrant will be issued, and the person will be in the system. Or in other places, it has to go to a grand jury. Yeah. Either way, it results in formal charges. And then that begins the process of the formal procedure. So once someone's arrested, they're going to be taken before a judge. There's going to be an issue addressed if they're eligible for bail, whether there can be bail set, what are the conditions, the terms. It can happen soon, or it can take several days or weeks to pull all of that information together in a serious case. But at some point, they'll be brought before a judge. The judge will decide, in a sense, probable cause. Release will be granted or not. And then you are quickly into the discovery phase, right? There's an arraignment, you plead not guilty, then there's going to be court date set, and now you're in the discovery phase. That's the time from the formal charge until there's a resolution of the case, either by trial or some sort of plea or dismissal. So that can be weeks or months or even longer.
Well, that
You
makes,
mean either in jail or not in jail out on bond during
Yes.
that time.
And you know, that makes a big difference to everyone, not just you, if you're the guy in jail, but I know as a lawyer, if my client is not in jail, I don't have to go there to visit, but more importantly, I can enlist their help in helping me understand things. He can help me identify witnesses. We can go to locations. It's so much more helpful to the case to have a client out of jail than one's in, separate apart from what a pain it is, of course, and how emotionally.
Well, as you can see, I guess Ari, according to a judge, a lawyer who got Zimmerman off, according to a professional lawyer, a big shot lawyer, it's, you know how a particular person kept saying that. Well, I'm just saying, you know how Nate kept saying that that this was going to be a hard case for the prosecutors. I think it's the other way around. It's going to be a hard case for the defense, because even an expert at this self-defense, being the expert at self-defense lawyer, is saying that, you know, it's even harder when your client is still locked up. You know, we, at least with they out, we can, you know, because I think Zimmerman was out. Did Zimmerman have bond? If I recall, I don't remember. I can't remember. It was so long ago. But he's saying that, you know, as long as Holly, like, people in the situation with Holly, if you know, with Ari, what she gonna have to do, if Holly's still in there, you know, it's gonna be hard to shape this defense. But you know, she do got Carlos, I guess, to advocate for or talk about what happened and find these witnesses. But the witnesses are not helping Holly case at all. Only witness that's helping her is Carlos, and we already know a judge said he not credible, right? So, but I think this is gonna be a hard case. I really think if Holly gonna beat this, if Ari gonna beat this case for Holly, if she does, I think she's gonna find a technicality, because I heard she was known for technicalities, and I think the prosecutors know that. So I think they're gonna make sure they dot all their I's and cross all their T's, because if she can find something that they did incorrect, she might be able to use that to get Holly off.
I don't know how you would describe the experience of being in jail, not just the restriction in the custody, but the idea of waking up every day in that circumstance, not knowing what your fate's going to be.
yeah, that's huge.
Draining.
It is so excellent. That's perfect. Because it's not just to the
struggle streaming. Come on.
It affects everybody. It affects your
Hold on
spouse,
for a
your
minute.
children, your loved ones.
I'm just pausing it for a minute because StreamYard is doing that struggle streaming stuff. What's up, Calvin? Yeah, I was watching somebody else's live yesterday, and StreamYard was struggle streaming. There's a lot of people who use StreamYard, so I don't know. Are you guys, is it still coming through fine, or is it kind of choppy? Just waiting to see in the comments what you all are saying. Good there? All right, we'll keep playing.
Your employment. It's just so far-reaching. Now, once we had this initial arraignment, these things are in place. As we begin to move forward, kind of from your perspective, your next steps in preparing a proper defense move what direction now?
Hopefully, from the very beginning, we've had investigators involved, identified witnesses, help our clients, begin to digest.
Yeah, I can't listen. That's one thing about me. I cannot stand bad audio. That's why I get upset when people don't tell me my shit is fucked up. And I'm like, how y'all sat through that shit? But that I can't do it. So I'm finna just skip it. I'm trying to get to the part because I think he brought up that appeal thing. If the person lose, do the insurance still cover it? That's the part I'm trying to find to make sure I heard that correctly.
Can miss things. So you may have to request things that you think are there that they didn't give you. In 10 or 15 or 30 years, and there's really been a deep dive into the record. The reason that people can be subject to a false conviction is because exculpatory information has been withheld. And in those situations where maybe it's revealed later or discovered somehow, prosecutors have gone to jail for it. It's rare. Maybe should happen a little more often. At least the search should be more rigorous. But when somebody hides exculpatory evidence and it prejudices someone and they're convicted, it's outrageous and criminal.
We don't heard that. That don't happen to black people a lot, where they later found out that the state hid information and innocent people don't went to jail. And there's been cases where the prosecutor was later tried for doing that shit. Well, we usually see cases like that happen because the prosecutor was like prejudiced, a racist.
Issues related to discovery, scheduling of things, and then eventually some sort of calendar with a aspirational trial date gets put up there, right?
Yeah, the process can take weeks or months or longer. Some jurisdictions with more open discovery actually can take longer. Yeah. On the other hand, if there's less open discovery, the investigation that you have to do may take longer. But in any event, it's going to be weeks or months or more. To give you an example of what could take a lot of time, that seems to be something simple that could easily be resolved. In the case we were working on, the photographs taken at the scene were provided to us in black and white photocopies. Mm-hmm. We couldn't get the real picture. It took weeks and demands, written letters. We then got a color photocopy, and we still couldn't get the actual digital image. And when we did get the digital image, imagine that compared to the black and white photocopy when you're looking at blood running down someone's face. The power of that, the impact, the evidentiary significance of that was overwhelming. If we'd had that information weeks or months before, it may have changed the entire direction of the case. So sometimes every day is another fight. On the other hand, I've worked with terrific prosecutors. They do their job, they work hard, they prosecute hard, but they play by the rules too. Right? And I love those cases. I want the judge to know what he or she is doing. I want the prosecutor to know what he or she is doing. And I want a hard-fought case within the guidelines.
Well, and a completely investigated case. I mean, you want everything to have been done.
I got to remember to unmute my mic. So what he said was absolutely important. A completely investigated case. Please understand this, okay? Please understand this.
Hold on, I got to pause real quick. Ashley, I'm so glad because I thought you was mad at me, girl. I'm so glad you in here. Because I like you. I don't know what it is. I like you. So I'm glad you're here because I asked you, was you mad at me in Upper's chat? But I figured you didn't see the comment when I asked you. But thank you for coming through. I said, some people, I don't care that they upset with me. But I always like your vibe and your positive energy and your words of encouragement and stuff like that. So thank you for tuning in. Thank you for saying hey, Neo, and hey to the chat, regardless of the drama and stuff like that. But thank you for coming because I said, damn, I don't want her to be. It's some people I don't care, that they mad because I know they fake, you know what I'm saying? But I was like, I don't want her to be mad at me. She was always nice to me. So thank you for coming through and still supporting the channel. So appreciate you.
During these past years, right, all these protests, things like that, you've heard people say, officer, you work for me, I pay taxes, meaning I pay your salary. Former cop here, Detective Great. We don't work for you. The police do not work for you.
That is true what Mike's saying. Adrian said it's sloppy. It will ruin a whole case. Mistrials was a guy's situation on the drug charge, even though I knew he did that shit. Yeah, that don't happen a few times where people got off. That's why I said got off on the technicality. And you said you was a jury on that, but that don't happen where cases been dismissed or the judge had to dismiss the charges without prejudice, and people had to retrial or get a new prosecutor because sometimes people do play when they get desperate. They do desperate things. But it's been cases I just know being in Florida where we deal with a lot of racism. Here, it's been times where cops got caught planting drugs on people who didn't know that a person had a camera in their vehicle or forgot that their body camera was on. It's been times where that happens. It's been times where state prosecutors don't got caught on a live hot mic or a live mic saying stuff and knowing that they was hiding evidence. Hell, I think one of the most famous cases was the lab technician, right? The person whose job to the forensic lab, who to do the forensic sites, like the lab technician. With that, it was like an Asian lady. I ain't gonna never forget her. I forgot her name, but I'm never gonna forget what she did. It was an Asian woman. She purposely was manipulating the DNA test results. So a lot of black men were found guilty for crimes they didn't do when it was like rape or murder and stuff. And we later found out that she was like, these men were innocent, but she was manipulating the test. So it appears that this person's DNA was found on something when it wasn't. They kind of, they hushed the story. It didn't go viral, blow up the way it would have today if it was something like that was to come out. they did a good job suppressing that story, but I remember when I heard a few content creators talk about that. So it happens, sis. So that's why people who tend to have money to afford these they own defense team, this is why they get their own tests, or they they run their own forensics, they get their own experts, just to see if what they're saying aligning to what the prosecutors are discovering, right? So that's why separate families have separate autopsies, right? If they feel like that something is off. Holly's defense team can get another autopsy on Romika if they feel like something was missed, right? So that's why it happens, because unfortunately people do fucked up shit like that, and they have ruined cases where guilty people have gotten off, and then vice versa, innocent people have went to prison and their life was taken away from them, their whole entire life. Some of these men are getting out, and they went to prison at 25 and 30, and DNA has exonerated them, like people rerunning their tests and stuff, and find out that a lot of innocent men went to jail and they getting out while they 60 and 70. Their whole life don't went by. So, and in some cases, the courts just say, my bad. And then there's some cases where the state has paid out money for, people being wrongfully prosecuted. Wrongfully convicted. But it depends on what state they live in. But I'm trying to get to the part about the appeal thing. That's the only reason, because what time I need to eat my lunch. I'm going to try to get there at 3 o'clock because my next live is at 3:30. I'm trying to get to the part where they talk about if a person who has CCW insurance, and if they lose their case, does the insurance pay out? Because I heard one person say they do. I don't remember if it's this video or not, if they said it do or if it don't. Because I might have got it confused, because White Dove said she looked it up, and she said she looked it up and it says it don't. So that's the part that I'm trying to make sure I heard that, because it's possible I probably just heard that wrong.
It frozen. I was frozen for a minute, and I'm freezing. StreamYard is really been tripping. Let's keep going though. It sounds good to say, but we don't work for you. We work for the government. The government. You pay taxes to the government, because if you don't, you know what happens, right? And the government appropriates that money as they see fit. One of those functions they pay for is law enforcement, because without enforcement, the rule of law has no teeth. Does that make sense? Saying all that to say this, okay? You don't know what kind of investigator you're going to get on the scene. You don't know what kind of detective you're going to get on the scene. You don't know what kind of biases they are going to come with, and as humans, we all have them. You don't know how their day has been.
Hey, what's up, True Blessing? I just read one of your comments over there. You was on the Nikki. I just played talks with Nikki. I played her video of her covering the CCW insurance and then explaining that and then letting us know that Ari clearly knew what she was doing when she took this case, because she gonna cash in and get that money, right? So I just seen one of your comments over there, but thank you for coming in. Thank you for supporting. What's up, honey? You said, how can people live with themselves? Hey, we live in a scary matrix. Y'all already know I keep telling y'all. I did a lesson about the frog and the scorpion and the frog. Some people just gonna do it. That's in their nature. You know what I'm saying? They can't help it. They don't know why they do it. They just do it, right? Because y'all know I don't believe in free will anyway. But we gonna leave that alone. That's philosophy. That's not that's not a very popular, well accepted belief. But only a few people tend to believe that, and I'm one of the ones that do. So don't believe that we have free will, and it has nothing to do with the ability. Can you make a choice or not? Everybody makes choices. I'm talking about free will when it has to do with fate, F-A-T-E, fate. So, but I don't know. Some people just do shit. They can't help it. And some people become villains. I chose to become an anti-hero after all the shit I've been through. It's easy for me. I can see, ain't nobody gonna be mad at if I became a villain in my origin story, right? Yeah, like I have plenty of reasons to be a goddamn villain, right? But I'm choosing. I was like, I don't want to be the hero. right? I don't want to be the hero or the villain. I want to be in the middle, right? I'm an anti-hero, right? So that's me. So, but I don't know why, but I'm just be patient. Give me like 10 more minutes to get through this part. I'm just trying to find the part because Dove asked that question, and now that I think about it, that's why I say I can't remember. It was this video that I seen it on, or because I watched 4 other videos of people talking about CCW, and one of them did say what happens if you lose a case. And I think, from my understanding, they were saying that they do cover the appeal.
And though you may believe or have a factual basis to assert victimhood in this given situation, not calling you a victim, they may not share your sentiments. And this is why you need investigators who will thoroughly, in as much as they can, investigate the situation for you. Didn't I just say that CCW Safe has it set up like a police union and how they protect their members? Let's continue.
Right, Adrian.
I learned several harsh lessons actually on the stand when I get up there and I'd have a defense attorney say, these things are important, right? Yes, they are. Did you do this? No. So we grew as investigators under questioning. So it's kind of what I was saying about overproducing and giving a whole lot more. I always gave that to the prosecution. And I worked for a county where I felt really comfortable that they were going to be upfront and produce
It's the way it's supposed to work.
like the law says.
And there's a much better chance the whole process will be fair.
Yes.
If people simply do their jobs professionally
Yes.
and ethically. Even if everybody does that, that doesn't make it easy.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean it's not going to be a hard case or
Absolutely.
it's not going to be a real emotional challenge for the accused, for the victims, the shooting victim's family. All of that still plays a part, but at least you're moving from A to B in the proper ethical professional way that the system is designed.
I don't really know Mike like that. I think I've seen somebody pull up his Facebook posts and stuff. I never watched him, never really. So I heard people say he don't say problematic stuff or whatever. I don't have no opinion. I didn't hear it, but I heard that there's a good amount of people don't like him, right? But he got him a huge following, so you know how that go. There's always somebody out there for you. Somebody gonna always like you, regardless, But I just happened to, when I was looking up CCW insurance, I was trying to see if anybody else covered the topic. This video was one of the ones that popped up, and I'm trying to remember. But even though I watched 4 different videos, and being that I kept rescheduling this live, and I don't have my notes nowhere around me, I don't even know. My notes might be in my cell phone because I probably was doing it at work. But I can't remember where I seen somebody ask this question because I want to get to it before I end this live. So, but what's up, peace, sis? How you doing? So,
Produce whatever we now call justice.
Yes.
And for color, let's say, for example, you're not in jail, you're out on bond during this time. You've probably lost your job. You may have an ankle monitor. You may not be able to leave your house during certain times. You certainly probably won't be able to leave the county. Your life is put into a box while you're working through these issues.
And that's likely to be the case no matter what serious crime you're charged with. But frankly, in my experience in self-defense cases, it's almost like it's worse because more than any other case that I've handled, a self-defense case is often a good guy who gets upside down in something that's viciously attacked, has to defend himself or herself, but the way it sorts out winds up getting prosecuted. And that takes a person out of their regular life, their family, their job, their networks.
That's why for me personally, if I know I don't live in no stand your ground state, I probably wouldn't even carry no weapon. You feel what I'm saying? Like, I probably just use something else, like maybe have a knife or a wasp spray, mace, or some type of other type of weapon, because I don't think I could, because being that, like he said, how easily a person can get caught up in the gray, and then knowing that you will have to go through all this, I have to really feel like if I lived in a state like Illinois where they don't have a stand your ground state, but no duty to retreat law either, I really have to have fear. Like I have to be like fear, like scared, or you attacking me for me to pull out a gun, knowing that I would have to go through all that shit. So, but with Holly's situation, my heart is telling me that this was a plot from the beginning.
and turns their life upside down.
She just wasn't a good girl that got caught up in, some shit. She egged it on. I mean, even down to the witnesses saying that she banged on the car when Romika actually got back into her vehicle. So even on that, showing more that how you afraid of somebody and you banging on their car? Like, come on.
That's not quite so bad if it's your fourth time in prison and you just got out a week before and you get arrested again. But the self-defense cases are so tough because they're so human in many ways. These are everyday folks who attempted to act responsibly and did, but
they're now treated like criminal.
Yeah.
Well, they've lived their whole lives rightly. They've always been on the right side of the law. They've always done what they believe to be right, and they've found themselves in this horrible situation that they have to defend themselves.
These are a lot of people who like and support law enforcement,
Yes.
and now are almost shocked to find themselves on the other side of it. It's a real head twister.
Well, there are things that I've seen on the law enforcement side. I know when we went and we finally started holding officers back from going downtown and making formal statements. We gave them the minimum of 2 sleep cycles. That's such a big deal.
Okay, that's some bullshit right there, because we know a lot of these law enforcement officers, they be killing black people. That's why they be getting in trouble. They be like unnecessary, just like the man who shot the what's her name, Sonia Massey, for the boiling water and stuff. Like, they send up here just acting like this shit happen to officers all the time, and like, no, majority of them get off for killing people, right? So sometimes they just use their weapons. Some of them just are irresponsible and they don't, do, what they supposed to by law, and they get caught up. And then some of them get off if they get a good lawyer. So
They understand, but that body camera don't understand anything other than what you give it.
Finish the case. And there's a very clear progression in a criminal case. We're past the arraignment. We're into the discovery phase we're talking about. There will be a point in time, though, where the judge says enough postponements, enough continuances, it's time to get this case resolved. Right. Well, there's only 3 ways to do that, actually. Dismissing the charges, and that's pretty rare if you're that far along, unless the judge suppresses evidence that results in the prosecution having to drop the case, or enough evidence is investigated and revealed that changes somebody's mind. And that doesn't happen very often, because some of these self-defense prosecutions are sort of, there's a political overtone too, and it's in for a penny, in for a pound. So there's a pretty good chance that when you get to the point where you have to resolve the case, it's either going to be by a plea or by trial. A plea is within the full discretion of the prosecutor. They say, here's what the plea offer is. You may have some limited ability to conference with the judge, but for the most part, the prosecutor has all the cards on that. And I've had cases where there were no plea offers.
And Don, if we're talking about a self-defense case where there was a fatality, the options are essentially first-degree murder, second-degree murder, or manslaughter, or some version of that, depending on how the laws are written in that place.
Yeah, using Florida as an example, first-degree murder is mandatory life in prison if there's no death penalty. Second-degree murder is likely to be life in prison if a firearm was used. It may be mandatory. And manslaughter with a firearm, because a firearm was involved, doubles the potential maximum from 15 to 30 years. So even with a manslaughter, if a firearm was involved, you're looking at a potential 30-year sentence on a reduced plea.
Right, so when you're talking about the plea process at this point, there's not a lot to go down from looking at 30 years.
Not much room, unless the prosecutor is just trying to do anything to get out from under what they believe is a bad case, reduces it so far that there's probation or a misdemeanor or something that is really shouldn't be contemplated usually.
But in the self-defense case, what's tricky at this point is you are convinced you're justified.
Yes.
And now you're going to be thinking, we'll pick up. I want to talk about the justification.
Okay, yeah, we're going to take a quick break now. If you'll come back and join us, we'll
I'm sorry, y'all.
be pressing somebody that if you don't do this, this is going to happen.
I was
To your
trying.
point, I've seen offers come in right before trial.
All right, let me see. I think I got an idea. Let me put the transcript into Chat GPT. I'm finna put the whole entire transcript in Chat GPT, and I'm finna ask Chat GPT to give me the timestamp of when they oh shit, how long his video is? I hope it ain't more than. All right, I'm finna put this into Chat GPT, and I'm just finna ask Chat GPT to give me the timestamp. Give me the timestamp when they answer the question about the CCW covering. I should have thought of this. Covering insurance. Covering the appeal. So. Hopefully it's not too long. All right, let's see. I'm waiting for it to give me an answer. Should have thought about that. They usually do that when. All right, so all right, so 1 hour and 34. Say, all right, so we was almost close. We was close to it. So 1 hour, 34 minutes. Let's see. I don't know why I didn't think of that, y'all. Sooner. Instead of you having y'all listening to all this. Hey, what's up, Miss Shirley? So, let me see. All right, so it says 134. Let me double check that. Because the chat GPT said it's somewhere in here it does say yes. Yes, it says yes. In this transfer, it's clearly answered that CCW safe says it does cover appeals. So, but I'm trying to get to the part where we can hear them say that. So 134. So 130.
It gives us
So
what I could lose.
Sometimes you can even plead and claim you're still innocent.
All right, so here's the question, y'all. This is the question we was trying to get
We were
answered.
talking about
Finally
plea
got
deal
to it.
earlier, that all of a sudden you've taken a plea deal because of that, even if it's just that fear. I stand right here and I know what I did was right, but man, this is a safer bet than the gamble of
Yes.
what I could lose.
Sometimes
So-
you can even plead and claim you're still innocent. You
Yes.
still plead to get the case
An
over with.
Alfred
That's
plea,
in your best
yes,
interest, right?
absolutely.
So what happens with some of the other competitors at that point?
Well,
I know.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Yeah, number one is now I have to pay back all the fees that they've invested in my defense because now I'm guilty. There's some of them that if I go, well, I want to appeal this.
This is important.
Appeal this if it's a plea deal. But if it goes to trial and I say, that it's still not right, I disagree, I'm innocent. Let's appeal this thing.
Mm-hmm.
We have competitors that say, well, we'll take that appeal on, but you have to pay back for that initial loss.
Let me talk about that for a minute, because that is
Absolutely.
near and dear to my
Yes.
heart. Because sometimes I'll talk to a colleague or someone that crosses paths with, and that's a member of an organization other than ours, and I'll say, well, do your benefits include an appeal?
Yes.
Do they include a retrial after a successful appeal? Do they include a retrial
Listen.
if the judge grants a mistrial
Mistrial,
during
yeah.
the case? And a lot of times they say, good question, I don't know. Well, you got to take a look, because if anything, CCW Safe is transparent in that. And yes, if you go to trial and lose, CCW Safe will pay for the lawyers and the expense of the appeal. If you are successful in appeal, CCW Safe will pay for the cost of the retrial, which means starting over. It's
Yes.
not like you pick it up where you left off. You
Yes.
start over again, new jury. It could take weeks or months. If something happens during the trial, if a witness says something they were not allowed to, mentions evidence that was excluded, if the prosecutor is guilty of misconduct and the court grants a mistrial, CCW Safe pays for the new trial. And what happens the most, I think.
Okay, so
in
I did
cases-
hear that correctly when I first, because I was like part half sleep listening to this too. Because sometimes I like to put the plugs in my ear and go to sleep, like lay down or whatever. So and I fall asleep all the time in the truck listening to shit, especially while we slow. Because as you can see, we so damn slow. I'm doing a live this early, right? I ain't even at work. But anywho, so yeah, so White Dove, to answer your question, sis, if you still in here, I feel like basically what he was saying, that only how they are required, where the CCW companies will ask for you to pay back if you take a plea deal, like if whatever, because they only gonna cover you if you're fighting and saying self-defense, like self-defense. So I guess if a person takes a plea deal later, or they and that's interesting, because you remember we got into an argument. Is it possible do people think that Holly would take a plea deal? Now, me personally, and from everything I know from the case, it would be smarter for Holly to take a plea deal, because if she wanted to see a chance to ever see her child, outside of the prison walls, she could probably take a plea deal. She's young, get 20 years or some shit like that. She'll get out while she, 40 or 50, right? But I personally think she should take a plea deal, because she knows she dead ass wrong. But if they don't, like he was saying, I guess that's the only time when they demand the money back, is if you wind up like not you pleading to self-defense anymore. Or how does that work? Because he was asking a good question, like, what about if somebody feels like they figure like, hey, I don't have a strong case, I am innocent, the state is saying they'll charge me with manslaughter and give me 10 years or 5 years, at least I have a chance to still come out and have a life, but I'm innocent. Like, how does that work do the insurance company still cover that part, or do they have to pay it back? So I felt like that was a good question. And from my understanding, that's what he was asking them, like when people are in tough situations like that, right? For my example, I was in a situation like that where I know that I had a self-defense argument. That's what I was pleading when I was going through my shit. But at that time, Florida did not have the stand your ground law. It actually, stand your ground law, if I'm not mistaken, happened a year later after my case. So if that law was in effect of a year before I got in trouble, I wouldn't even have got arrested. I used to talk to some officers about it, like, damn, I wouldn't even went to jail if this law was actually there. But I wound up just taking like a plea deal and, you know, just told him like, the judge just gave me a chance. Like, he was like, stay out of trouble and this won't be in your record. But some people can find it, some people don't. But I never pled guilty. Like, regardless of what people said, I took a guilty. No, I did not. That was not, I pled what they call no contest. And that's basically a person like saying like, hey, I'm not saying I'm innocent. I'm not saying I'm guilty. I'm saying that I want this to be over with. I would take a punishment from the courts, do what I have to do, and then go off and be a law-abiding citizen, right? And that was my plea deal, is do probation. I did probation, and as long as I stayed out of trouble, they're not going to ever hold that against me. Like, if I get arrested right now, they're not allowed to hold that first charge against me and say, well, I was arrested for this or whatever. They gave me a withhold adjudication, right? So that's why when people say that I was a convicted felon and all that stuff, no, in the state of Florida, I can still own a gun and all that stuff. I'm not a felon. So I don't know why people was trying to push that narrative and said that I was. But they also forgot to mention, y'all, that shit happened to me while I was in high school. And I was actually 18 years old. And the reason why I got in trouble was because the person I was engaging with, I just had turned 18, and that person just happened to be 17. And that's why I got in trouble. But, people want to run with narratives and say whatever they want. So, but, I remember I was pressured because they told me if I go to trial and if I'm found guilty, I'm going to get 5 years minimum, right? So in me being 18, scared, trying to go to college, don't want to go to prison, I just took a damn probation. So, but if I knew what I knew now, I definitely would have fought the case, because I definitely would have won that case if I would have fought.
Is that at the end of a hard-fought case, the jury can't be unanimous for some reason. I don't know why it is. Maybe a bad juror got on there, or maybe the evidence was that close, but they can't reach a unanimous verdict. And when that happens, after some period of time and some cajoling by the prosecutor, the judge, the judge will grant a mistrial, right? And that means it all starts over. And
I'll tell you in a minute, Jacob.
Yes.
It's whether you're going back for a second trial for appeal, but I think self-defense cases, because they're so hinging on what was in their heart when they made the decision to pull the trigger. Mm-hmm. If there's one person who really believes they did the right thing and someone who really believes they murdered somebody, that's how you get a hung jury. Yes. And this is the kind of case that's built for hung juries.
And that's what impressed me so much about CCW Safe when I met these guys. So transparent, and there was no question. Yes, we pay for in addition to all of the expense to get to trial and to finish the trial. If things go badly, it might not be your fault. You might still be innocent after all of that, yes, but somebody else caused the problem. There may have been juror misconduct, yes, or who knows. And you do need to appeal. Then CCW Safe provides the funding for that. Yeah. And at the end of the appeal, typically the judges on the appellate panel don't dismiss the case. What they do is decide, yes, your trial was unfair, right, because of this witness issue, this juror misconduct. The judge may have made an error in the jury instructions. And they say, yes, your trial was unfair. We reverse your conviction and remand it, not for a dismissal, for a new trial. Right. So you start all over again. And to me, as a defense lawyer who's looking for the ability to try.
Yes, I'll put the link in the description. The link is in the description. I'll drop the link now.
I'm really impressed with that. And I said that to myself before I ever connected with these guys. Yeah. Kind of looking around, and I'm so privileged, I think, to join this team.
It is so solid.
Okay, so now we have our answers on that. So now I see why that insurance is more popular, because they will cover appeal. Right. So I guess that's a lot. Whatever organization that came up together and came up with this insurance company or business or whatever they is, because y'all know how I feel about insurance. I tell y'all all, oh, what's going on with my camera? I don't know what's going on with my camera, y'all. It just went out of focus. Let me see if I can get it back. There you go. All right, my camera went out of focus for a quick second. I probably should have did a white balance, because sometimes that white balance, when you have to put a white paper to get it, there you go. That's how some people, that's a little trick that I teach people to fix their camera. It's called white balance. You just take a white sheet of paper and put it in front of the camera. But Now I see why this is more popular. It seems like they do cover a lot of stuff. Y'all know how what I say about insurance. I feel like insurance was started by the mafia. You know what I'm saying? I think insurance is a scam. But in a situation like this, if you are a gun owner or whatever, I think I can see why it's important to purchase something like this. Even though I still feel the way I feel that Holly did it because she knew she was going to use that weapon to hurt Romika. I truly still believe that, right? But for a responsible gun owner, for somebody who just want a weapon, because I'm not against guns, right? I just feel like that this country does a poor job regulating it, and they just let too many crazy people and too many nutcases get a hold of assault weapons and weapons that they really don't fucking need. You know what I'm saying? If it's just for self-defense, right? But I'm okay. I'm cool with people owning guns. I just feel like people should do it more responsible. Criminals gonna always have guns, regardless of what type of state you live in. They're criminals. They just gonna own a gun illegally, right? But if you live in a state where they feel like they want civilians to still be able to protect themselves and carry, they should. But now I see why insurance like this is important to have. I get it, but I still think she definitely got it because she knew what she was gonna do, if that makes sense. So, and it seemed like this CCW thing is better than the other ones that's out there, because if you got an insurance company that will pay for your appeals, even if you're found guilty, well then why not go with them, right? But unfortunately, people take advantage of these systems like this. Y'all know Florida is in the process of trying to reverse this stand your ground law, because they don't seen plenty of times where people has been using stand your ground to commit unaliving intentionally, right? To find a legal loophole so they can take people's life that they don't like, right? So like Holly, right? So it's kind of hard to weigh these things out when somebody takes the life of a stranger versus somebody who we know they had like a cat fight back and forth with, if that makes sense. So, all right, family, with that being said, I'm finna go run and eat my lunch. Coming back at 3:30, that'll give me at least 15 minutes to eat. I have a small lunch I'm gonna eat real quick, and then I'm gonna come back and we're gonna talk about my next live, where we're gonna talk about the religious thing, where, I just a critical thing, not necessarily, I'm not gonna be mocking or anything like that, but I am gonna be challenging and criticizing people who say ridiculous things, like the individual who told y'all that I'm nuts because she told y'all that I do black magic and witchcraft. I absolutely do not, right? But she's saying that I'm bonkers because they say I mock God, right? So we're gonna deep dive into that, see what that really means, and what would make a person, even if I am bonkers, what would that look like, and why would I be bonkers? Is it the divine God making me bonkers, or is it simply what science say it is, right? But so we're gonna deep dive into that. Just, if you want to critically think, see me after this live in about 15-20 minutes, right? So all right, family. This is more like a commercial for CCW. I don't know what it is, but I see why people have it. Like I said, people misuse it. It's not a bad thing, but I can definitely see how it can be dangerous, because people get it because they know they'll, at least if they go to jail for shooting their enemy, they'll have a chance of beating it, because they know that they have up to like $1 million worth of money where a company is going to pay for their defense. And I feel like Ari is very intelligent. Now that I know what I know now, thanks to Nikki, while playing her video earlier, then Ari chasing that bag. You know what I'm saying? I already know, I got plenty of money to, grab from this shit. So I don't think if Ari refused to even do a plea deal or some shit, negotiate, then we know what it is, right? If she tried to make this girl fight for this case and, whatever, and then even if she lose and then jump on the appeal, Ari cashing in. So that's how I personally feel. So clock it. That's like Nikki said, that lady getting that money. But rest in peace to Romika. Shout out to her family. Love and energy to them. Hope things are getting better for them. Standing with them. And I hope, I'm really hoping the universe favor favor them in the outcome they want, a conviction, and that Holly goes to prison for the rest of her life. Because I truly believe Holly committed first degree, premeditated, senseless, murder. I truly believe that in my heart. So, and I'm a person who believes in self-defense. I had to use it before when I was attacked, right? But in this case, I don't think that was the case with Holly. So, all right, see y'all in a little bit. I'm gonna leave with the Romika Pink Mafia Squad. I'm still working on so I can play my other song. Y'all, I know y'all been wanting to hear that other song, but I gotta fit something. Something went wrong when I tried to register that song to keep people from, misusing it. And yeah, I did something, I don't know, first time registering the song, and I gotta go back and fit some things. So, but all right, family. Catch y'all in the next one.
They try to mock us, turn solidarity into a joke. But pink ain't weak. Pink mean power, justice for all.
We the pink mafia squad, yeah, we gon' paint the city pink. For every tear that drop, we stand tall, we don't shrink. Voice for the silent now, truth louder than you think. Love over hate, yeah, we gon' paint the city pink. Pink, for justice painted pink. For her, we painted pink. For life, cause she should still be here. Painted pink, for justice painted pink. For her, painted pink. For life, cause she should still be here.
They type behind screens, try to twist the narrative. Mocking solidarity, but we stand imperative. A mother gone too soon, that pain hit different. Dropped a baby at school, now the world feel distant. This bigger than drama, bigger than clicks. This by the child who gotta grow up this. We ain't no game, we are moving the truth. When they spread lies, we respond with proof. Call us Pink Mafia, embrace that name. And pick me loyalty, then we claim that flame. We stand for a family, 10 toes deep. Why they chase attention, we don't lose sleep.
Pink mafia squad, yeah, we gon' paint the city pink. For every tear that drop, we stand tall, we don't shrink. Voice for the silent now, truth louder than you think. Love over hate, yeah, we gon' paint the city pink. Painted pink, for justice painted pink. For her, painted pink. For life, cause she should still be here. Painted pink, for justice painted pink. For her, painted pink. For life, cause she should still be here. Like the morning changed everything in the blink of an eye. She should be here watching the sun grow tall. Instead we fighting lies while they trolling us all. But we don't fold, we don't bow. Cyberbully energy can't break us down. We advocate strong, no violence in speech. Just justice, accountability, truth we preach. We ain't fueled by hate, we fueled by care. By the weight of a loss that ain't fair. Everybody life matter, that's the stance. We paint the city pink in remembrance and prayer. Pink for the love, pink for the pain, pink for the tears falling like rain. Pink for the mothers, pink for the child, pink for the silence that's speaking loud. We the pink mafia squad, yeah, we gon' paint the city pink. For every tear that drop, we stand tall, we don't shrink. Voice for the silent now, truth louder than you think. Love over hate, yeah, we gon' paint the city pink. Painted pink, the shades of painted pink. For her, painted pink. For life, cause she should still be here. Painted pink, the shades is painted pink. For her, painted pink. For life, cause she should still be here. She should still be here.